Hey everyone, this is Jackie, aka Adam Heart Mother, and welcome to episode 4 of my Flosstube channel. I'm gonna show you some fun things I'm working on this week and talk through some project prep for something new. Some fun project updates to share with you all. I think it's been 2 weeks since my last episode. To be honest, I don't have 2 weeks worth of stitching to show you, but I have been busy and have some fun stuff to share. And the first project I want to start with is actually a clothing embellishment that I've been working on. I want to start with this because I've actually got a giveaway happening right now on my Instagram. What day is it? It is Saturday, August 14th. Fingers crossed I'm going to get this video posted today. The giveaway runs until Monday evening Pacific time on my Instagram. So go check out my newest post over there. You can enter, and what you can win can help you make your own cross-stitch clothing at home. It's a super great product. I love it. Let me take this off the hoop. All right, so this is the second pair of overalls that I am embellishing with cross stitch. I had done this jean overall embellishment maybe about 2 months ago now. I've got a little star pattern on the back pocket. And then we've got a little bumblebee on one of the front legs. I loved this so much, and I had actually done this not with waste canvas, but with this stuff right here. So this is from Sulky. They make great threads, and they have this stick and stitch printable stuff. So it's kind of like a fabric sheet. Let me get one out. So what's really cool with this, and it is primarily used for embroidery, and I've just kind of fudged it a little bit to use it for cross stitch. But you've got this kind of like fabric sheet. It's nice and soft, and you print directly to this, and then it just peels off like that. And you just print on this, stick it directly to what you want to cross stitch on. It kind of gives you an idea. So that's kind of what it looks like. So you can print directly on this and just place it on your clothing, your bag, whatever you want to embellish. You just stick it directly to the thing that you're working on, and then you just cross stitch like that. So when you print the pattern, it obviously prints the grid, and you just kind of pretend like that's your fabric. Does that make sense? So it's a little, you got to play with the scale of the pattern. I always print on like a scrap piece of paper first to make sure that it's going to be legible, that the squares are going to be big enough, and that it's going to fit where I want it to. I've actually been filming like a full-length tutorial going through how I'm doing this step by step, so hopefully I have that within the next couple weeks to post. This is what I've been working on so far. These are black overalls, really simple. The fabric is nice and light. So I'm just kind of doing like an embellishment along the top there. So there's going to be an avocado, and then I've got lemons and strawberries on the end. So a little like fruity fun overall thing. So I've never used waste canvas before. Sulky sent me the stick and stitch stuff, and I just used that. I really liked it. What is really awesome about this stuff is that once you're done with your cross stitching, you just rinse this under warm water and it completely dissolves. It's gone, which is really cool. Again, I haven't used waste fabric, but you like have to like pull out those threads one by one. So I think this is like really easy and really fun. I like being able to just print directly on the fabric as well, because then I don't have to worry about referencing a pattern. It's just like right there in front of me. This is very cool stuff. I like it a lot. Would love to know if you've used it and what you thought. The two cons I have, in my opinion, one, working with this, obviously it's sticky on one side. That's how it sticks to what you're working on. So your needle gets a little like sticky and gunked up after you're working with it for a while. So I've noticed like I just kind of have to keep wiping it clean, and that works fine, just kind of wiping it clean throughout the process. But that's like one of the things I don't love about it. And then the other thing you can kind of see here, you know, as you start to work with this stuff, like initially the grid and the pattern will be really nice and clear. And this might just be the printer or ink that I'm using, but it definitely becomes a little bit harder to read as you work with this for a long time. That's why I actually prefer using a hoop, because it just helps me like handle it a little bit less and seems to keep that like integrity of the pattern just a little bit longer. Again, that might be very specific to my printer at home. So very excited for these. I love the way this avocado looks. So yeah, there's a giveaway on my page. You can win, there's a giveaway on my Instagram. You can win a whole pack of these, which are fantastic. And along with the stick and stitch, if you are a fan of the sulky 12 weight cotton petite threads, I am a big fan. You can also win a pack. I think it's a pack of 6 of these, and it's the bright color palette. I'm really like new to working with these, but what is really great about them is that this one strand of this sulky 12 weight is equivalent to 2 strands of standard embroidery floss. So if you need to stitch something working with 2 strands, you just get to use one of these, which does make it a little bit easier. And the spool is like, this is so convenient. No more having to like separate your strands, and then you just kind of wrap it back around this little section at the top, and it keeps your like thread locked in there. They're great. I love these. So I've definitely got like my little collection of sulky colors starting to grow as I'm reaching for these more and more. And I also like using them on clothing as well. Sulky threads are what I've used on both of the cross-stitch clothing embellishments I've done so far. So I'm using 2 strands, which is equivalent to 4 strands of floss. And it just like gives really nice coverage without dealing with like the hassle of actually using 4 strands, because that would be kind of a lot, right? And you can see here, my stitches are not perfect by any means. It's fine. Like, I'm very happy with this. I don't worry too much about it being perfect. And then I'm actually just, you know, this pattern called for DMC, and I'm just playing around with the sulky threads that I have and using what I have to make it work. The pattern itself, I will put a picture up, but this is from Sam X Stitch on Etsy. It's actually like a full set of really, really cute fruits. I love the full pattern. I just kind of grabbed 3 different ones that I wanted to feature on these, and that's what I'm using for this. So yeah, like I said, I will have a like more in-depth tutorial coming about this, but I definitely wanted to share in the meantime a fun little thing that I've been working on and let you all know about the giveaway. So yeah, if you want to enter the giveaway, you can go check out my Instagram. It's the most recent post on my page. All you gotta do is leave a comment and then follow both me, and make sure you're following Sulky as well. And I just will tell you, working with Sulky, like, I freaking love this company. They are so incredibly nice, so supportive. I love the contact that I have over there. So Leanne, if you're watching this, thank you for being awesome. Like, I'm telling you, it really does make a difference in like wanting to work with you guys. I love you all so much, and it's because of like your kindness and awesomeness, and you're great. So you're doing a good job. You're good at your job. Sometimes people don't hear that enough, you know? So that's what we'll kind of be dealing with. So definitely like summer appropriate. I really should have worked on these earlier in the summer, because by the time I'm done, we'll probably be getting into fall, but that's kind of how I roll, so. Maybe next, I've got to finish. This is very exciting for me. I am a sucker for like big full coverage cross stitch, so I'm like happy if I have 1 finish a year. I have shared this one before, but I have been working on a beginner to cross stitch series. I have all of those videos posted to my TikTok, and I'll be uploading them to IGTV as well. But I finished that pattern for the series, and I actually really love this. I did wash it, so it is freshly washed and ironed and is looking very, very nice. And I'm gonna finish it next. I've never finished anything in a hoop, so I'm gonna like watch some different tutorials out there. If you have a favorite finishing method for hoops that is beginner friendly, because this is part of like a beginner friendly series and I'm a beginner too, let me know. This is a free pattern from DMC. It's called Moth. I stitched this 2/1 on 14 count Aida. I do really love this fabric color. So, and I wish the white maybe popped a little bit more, but all in all, I'm really happy with it. This would also look great on like a really, really dark colored fabric, but this was a nice, easy stitch and it's super cute. I honestly don't know if this is my first finish of the year. Well, no, I would count my overalls as my first finish, the jean ones. So maybe my second finish of 2021. All right, so finishing projects, good habits. Let's talk bad habits. Actually, no. Let's jump to a progress update. All right, so this is Night Cafe from Heaven and Earth Designs. This is the mini version of the chart. The original artwork is by Leonid Afremov. I am stitching this 1/1 on 28 count even weave fabric. I've been watching like more and more Flosstube lately, and I love all the folks that are like showing the, you know, pictures from the last time they worked on it and then what the update is. So I'm gonna try and get in the habit of that. So I will maybe at this point put up a picture today so that I can reference it next time. We'll see. We'll see if I figure that out in post. Not a lot of progress on this one. It's just been really busy. I also just like haven't had much of that stitchy bug lately either. I've been spread out trying to finish up these other projects, working on the giveaway, and then also wanting to wrap up that beginner series and get that Moth done. So I haven't had a lot of time for stitching, and the time that I have had, I've been working on other stuff and not too much like quiet time to work on my full coverage. But I did finally get a couple hundred stitches in. I think I maybe did a few of these blocks over here. Still loving this. Honestly, this morning was the first time I had worked on it in like a week and it felt really good. So I'm like kind of excited to get back into this and focus a little bit more on full coverage stitching because that's really what I love. All right, so I said I've been busy. What's been taking up my time and why don't I have a ton of stitchy stuff done? I'm gonna blame Stacy Stitches. Actually, Stacy, I love you. You have set me down a path that I don't think I can ever come back from. So what did Stacy do? Let me grab this. On my last Flosstube, I showed a project that I had made with a Cricut, and I mentioned that like I'm new to working with my Cricut, not really sure all what to do with it. And Stacy left a comment and she said, you can make thread drops with your Cricut. And I was like, oh my God, you can. How great, what a great idea. So that set me down a path. I think I made in one day 100 different thread drop prototypes because after I kind of created one simple one, I was like, oh, it'd be better if it had this and one if it had that, and I want it to work like this and I want it to work like that, and it needs to be strong, and it's hyper focus, y'all. Like my mind went there and there was no getting my mind away from there. And it's consumed my life for a good week now. But I have made a floss drop, thread drop that I think for me is like absolutely fantastic. So this is what I came up with. So what I really love about these, like most standard thread drops, they can very nicely go on a ring, a binder ring. These are like the super thick 3-inch binder rings, and I wanted to make sure it would be able to flow kind of over that nub. Even my Annie's Keepers like get caught on that sometime. Fits really nicely on that binder ring with room to spare. There is a nice big hole to hold your skein. I understand that skein's the right way to say it. It just feels awful. It feels awful coming out of my mouth like that. I've just read the word in my head a certain way my whole life, like I can't break it. So if it's irritating you, I'm so sorry. And maybe you also in your head say skein because it's how it's spelled and it feels nice to hear it. So I give you permission to say it however you want. Anyway, so I of course like having my thread lengths pre-cut, which is why I love using like thread drops to begin with. So nice big hole to hold your skein, and then this nice little oblong bit for all your extra pieces that are long enough to keep using, but not short enough to throw away. You've got a nice little like hole there to hold them. So I love the way that these hang. They are double-sided, so you've got those numbers there on the back as well. And I have atrocious handwriting, so I hate having to label my own thread drops. Like I have all my Annie's Keepers, I label them by hand, and it just never looks nice because my handwriting is not nice. So having these like pre-labeled with the Cricut was like, that was key for me. I love doing that. All right, but the other cool thing about these, and it's not perfect, it's not like the perfect equivalent to a bobbin, but with this kind of heart shape, you can wrap these around and store them similar to a bobbin. So if you thought those numbers were upside down, it's not. It is that way to make for easy storage in like your standard bobbin container so that you can see the thread number that you need. Nice and easy like that. So like I said, this isn't like a perfect bobbin holder. It's not gonna keep things like all even. But what I kind of struggle with is I love my thread drops and I love Annie's Keepers. I'm a big fan of Annie's Keepers. I love those for projects because when I'm working on a project, I like having all of my thread on a ring so I can flip through, search by number order. I like having everything pre-cut, so that works fantastic for me. And I know Annie's Keepers have the like slide option for storing. I still haven't bought one. They are really hard to find in the US. There's like one store that sells them, and it's a really small mom and pop shop, and it takes like 2 weeks to get an order, and I don't want to complain. I'm not going to throw them under the bus. But they're expensive. They're not super convenient to find. So it's like every time I have to place a new order for more Annie's Keepers, it doesn't feel like super convenient. So what I really like with this kind of design is I can have my floss per project sorted. When that project finishes, I can wrap these up and store them like a bobbin, which is really convenient, and then just pull them back out if I have another project that I can use that floss for. So this works for me. I'm not saying it would work for everyone. I made these with 3 layers to make sure that they're super sturdy, but that was a pain in the butt. So I've got double-sided cardstock on the back, so that's the back side, and then you can still see the fun colors coming through the front because it is double-sided cardstock. I glued a layer of acetate in the middle to make it like much stronger, and then I put the vinyl on top over the acetate. That is that layer. So this is like really thin plastic. So with the vinyl, I just cut out the DMC number. I didn't want to like transfer those little extra bits of the numbers. I'm like, I don't need it. And then I've also got the thread number there at the end. That's a lot of work. So I'm trying to rethink how I can make these sturdy. And if I can figure that out, I think I really would love to sell these. But by all means, you know, feel free to make this for your own use at home if you kind of like this. You can also make them bigger if you want, because they're fairly petite. I kept them small so that they would fit in like all of the standard bobbin storage options. So I bought like a box for storing bobbins and then used these to make sure that they would fit in there. And I've got, on my website, I've linked to the template that I made for Cricut. So if you have Cricut Design Space and you want to pull up that template, you can. It's totally free. I am so new to Cricut. I have no idea if this template is like the way it's supposed to be or like how to do these things. So if it's not working properly or seems off, I'm so sorry. I can try to troubleshoot, but like I said, I'm still just learning, but I at least wanted to make it available. So feel free to take that template, play around with it, change it however you want to change it. But this has been a lot of fun. So Stacy had completely enabled me to spend a week of my life making thread drops at home. And Stitchy Witch 42, we've been talking lots of Mucha. Last episode, I shared the Mucha, it's Girl with Primrose, that I had previously completed, and there's just been a lot of Mucha talk. I've been seeing what Stitchy Witch 42 is working on. I think she had maybe a post on Instagram showing her other Muchas that she had done previously, and they're all beautiful. And so I started looking at different pattern designers to see like all the different Muchas out there, and just could not get away from this one. I'm obsessed. So this is from Scarlet Quince. I have never worked on a Scarlet Quince pattern, but I did go ahead and purchase this one. I am so excited. I don't have all of the supplies yet, but I'm definitely, I'm gonna be kitting this project up. And I think my plan of attack is to set some other project goals for myself to get me to a place where I'm like happy with the progress on everything. And then starting this one will kind of be my reward to myself. That method kind of works for me. Honestly though, once the fabric gets here, I don't know if it will hold up. I might be too excited to work on it and I might just start, but we'll see. So, prepping for this project, I've got a couple more things to talk about, and we're going back to thread drops. In purchasing my first Scarlet Quince pattern, what I have learned is, one, there's no back stitching, which is perfect. That's actually why, one of the reasons I went with her charts is because there's no back stitching. There was so much back stitching on the first Mucha that I did. I really didn't like it. So I did check out Make It Pink, has beautiful Muchas with like really bright colors, which I really liked on their website, but they do have a ton of back stitching. So I steered clear of those at the end, even though I really loved the way they looked. And I ended up going with the Scarlet Quince. The one thing also I really like about this one, Topaz, is actually one of 4 in a set. So if I really love how this turns out, there would be 3 more for me to possibly do to create the full set in the future, which is great. Scarlet Quince patterns, while there's no back stitching, there are tons of blended colors, which is when you take one strand from one color and one strand from another and you mix them together. So all of her patterns, unlike a Heaven and Earth Designs, where it's really common where, you know, you're only stitching over one square, you can then, like me, I'm doing all of my HAEDs on 28 count, so I'm stitching 1 over 1. I love doing that because it's like you just save half the money, you know, you save half of the floss because you don't need to use 2 strands. So with Scarlet Quince, you have to use 2 strands because there's so many blended threads. Because there's so many blended threads, and because I had been spending my whole week working on these custom thread drops, I was like, oh, let me make like chart specific thread drops from my Cricut, like just for this. So this is what I've been working on. So I actually saw Test Stitches posted recently. She was actually preparing a bunch of different thread drops for one of her projects, and then she mentioned that she labels them per project, which it's so simple. I had never thought to do that though, so I really love that. So I kind of stole that from her. So I went and I labeled these, you know, SQ, the chart name Topaz, and then I'll have a slot for each of the colors. Again, this will fit on a binder ring, and then this will hold all those extra bits of floss. Or if I prep some of the blended threads ahead of time, I can also just put those here. I really love these. So again, I used a nice pretty thick size cardstock, and it was just a pretty color that I liked. And then I made it a little bit easier on myself after learning from my first thread drop, but this is just clear vinyl. And this is a lot easier. Just kind of stick it on like that. And just kind of brush it on, so that's what I've been working on, is just creating these labels and then putting that clear vinyl over the top. So for those thread drops, I just kind of had this pack. This is from Wildflower, of like, it's just really different, beautiful cardstocks. Which one did I go with? I really liked this, so I just cut them out from that. And then on the back side, so these might hold up as they are with just the cardstock and then that clear vinyl. I'm gonna add another layer to the back. So Cricut has this smart paper sticker cardstock. So I'm just gonna cut out like the simple template. I'm not gonna do labeling on the back. I just wanna make it easy on myself. I'm gonna cut out another layer for the back side and stick it to the back. This is really nice and thick stuff, and it's just gonna give it that like extra layer of durability. So I'm waiting for this to come in black, because I think black would look really nice on the back of that instead of white. White would look really dirty really quickly in my house. So it's kind of what I'm working on to prep for that project. I'm also really excited about the fabric for this. So you see in the picture, there is a little bit of white fabric that's gonna show through. I don't have a whole lot of experience with different types of fabric. Like most people, I start out stitching on Aida, and that's what I've been pretty used to. I really love 16 count Aida. Like, I think that's my definitely sweet spot when it comes to Aida. With my big full coverage HAEDs, I've been using 28 count even weave. I always buy the pre-gridded even weave, which is super useful. The fabric is nothing special, right? Like, it's nice and easy to use. The lines are like nice and straight. But you're never gonna see the fabric, you know, maybe a little bit along the edge, depending on like how you frame it and get it matted. But the fabric is not like the showstopper thing when it comes to HAEDs, right? So with Scarlet Quince, again, you need to work with 2 strands. So her charts, at least the one that I got, is actually charted for 18 count. So from what I've gathered from kind of like snooping through the Scarlet Quince Facebook group, a lot of folks will work on 2/2 on 32 or 36 count linen. So this was like my chance to finally, I feel like, try a different type of fabric, which I've really been wanting to do. So because when people talk about linen or Jobelin, I don't know if that's how you say it, Hardanger, Lugana, I don't understand what people are talking about. Is it an even weave? Is it a linen? Is it its own thing? It's always been really confusing for me. So I did some looking around online. I love, and I have it linked on my website, an overview from Julie X Stitch. She has a great overview on her page that goes through all of the different types of fabric, and then like how some of these names that we know, like Lugana, like what category that actually falls under. So I found it fantastic. And then she also sells like fabric samplers. So I ordered a bunch of these, and I actually had done this a while back, ordered a bunch of these to kind of like get a feel for what these different fabrics were like. So I know right off the bat, this is a linen. The kind of unevenness of it, nice and rustic looking, and I'm sure there are projects that this would be great for. Nothing I can think of that I would be working on at the moment that I would really want to use this on, which I thought I was gonna like be obsessed with the linen, and it was nice for it to come and be like, oh, I don't think I would like that. You know, it feels it almost feels like too delicate. Like I would destroy this. So And let's see the other ones I got. So this is a Belfast. I believe this is another type of linen. And they are taped on the back. So you kind of, you know, you can peel them off if you want to get a really good feel for the fabric, but I feel like this is good enough. This is Hard Danger. I don't know if that's how you say it. Like, honestly, almost exactly like an Ada with just a few less fibers. And then that's an Ada. This is Lugana. And the one that I knew was like, okay, when I need like a nice specialty fabric, like this is the one for me. It's unbelievably soft. It's smooth. The holes are perfectly spaced apart. I mean, oof. This is the, I don't know how to say it, Jobeline. I scrolled like 10 different YouTube videos just trying to find a clip of someone saying the name of this gosh darn fabric, and I can't find it. There's no pronunciation helper thing on Google. I feel like an idiot, so someone help me. I went ahead and ordered this in 32 count antique white for my new chart. And I think I'm probably spending a little bit more than what I should be, considering 95% of the fabric is covered. It's just a small bit that you're gonna see, but I think this is gonna be so nice to work on. So I will be stitching my topaz on an antique white Jobeline, like Jocelyn. That's how it works in my mind. Jocelyn, but Jobeline. And I know that that's wrong. I know that that's wrong. I say everything wrong. I really do. It's not Skeen, it's Skane. That's not happening. Ada, I actually feel like that one's 50-50. I know people say Ida. That's how my mom says it. All right, my camera kept overheating, so I think I covered most everything I wanted to talk about, but I owe you all a giant pickle update. So we let the giant pickle for like 5 days, which I thought was plenty time, bit into it. It was just still a giant cucumber. So 5 days is not enough for a whole pickle. So we did cut it into spears, put it back in the jar. So they're just big pickle spears now, nothing all that special. They're still not ready. We tried them maybe 2 days ago and still like fairly cucumber tasting. So I don't know. Anyways, since I don't have a giant pickle to share, in the spirit of giant things, here is my giant ort. So, yeah, giant ort jar. This is a sourdough pretzel container from Costco. These are really good, by the way, but for scale, my face, ort jar. I could probably, yeah, so it's big. And what I've been doing is, as I fill up, you know, my regular, this is still pretty big. We clearly like pickles, so. As I fill up my regular orts, I have these like all throughout the house, really, in every room that I stitch. I've got a couple of these. As I fill these up, I just kind of dump them in there. So, and you can see, because I do plastic canvas, I have a lot of like leftover yarn bits as well. So maybe slightly cheating because it's both floss and some yarn in there, but I mean, I still think this will probably take years to fill up. But so, no pickle this time around, but giant ort jar for the win. Thank you all for watching so much. We are 359 subscribers strong. I appreciate you all so much. I'll pop some links down below, but you can always go to my website, atomicheartxstitch.com. And I typically link to any of the products I talk about. I include some like useful tools in there as well. And all of the patterns that I stitch, I'll link. Oh, I have to add topaz, so I will add that link to my bio as well. But it's from Scarlet Quince if you want to go give a gander. And there's some other really beautiful charts on her website as well. So yeah, thank you again so much, and like, comment, and subscribe. Joblin, 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 Joblin. Someone help me. That sounds conceited. Begging of you, please tell me how to say it. I can get all. I feel so weird saying that. Project, why is my camera all weird? Like, comment, and subscribe.